Hello, back to reading Revelation chapter 10 today. So let's get to it. All right. I'm starting in this time English Standard Version. And so that's the one that has the subtitles. And the subtitle says The Angel and the Little Scroll. Then I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven, wrapped in a cloud, with a rainbow over his head, and his face was like the sun, and his legs like pillars of fire. He had a little scroll open in his hand, and he set his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land, and called out with a loud voice, like a lion roaring. When he called out, the seven thunders sounded, and when the seven thunders had sounded, I was about to write, but I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Seal up what the seven thunders have said, and do not write it down." And the angel, whom I saw standing on the sea and on the land, raised his right hand to heaven and swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created heaven and what is in it, the earth and what is in it, and the sea and what is in it, that there would be no more delay, but that in the days of the trumpet call to be sounded by the seventh angel, the mystery of God would be fulfilled, just as he announced to his servants, the prophets. Okay, so by the way, my brother's here visiting with me today. So if he wants to have a discussion on any of these points, feel free.
Thank you.
And as well as, I always would love to have discussion with anybody who's listening. So let's see. I found myself getting a little confused by all the wording. It was such a long sentence that I feel like, even though I stopped about halfway through like I did before to read the rest in the other version that I have, I would kind of like to just go to the other version and read that part again. And then maybe I'll grasp that, it may be worded in a way that doesn't lose me along the way quite as much. So let's do that. So chapter 10, this one actually interesting. Last time I thought that one version had subtitles and that the other did not, but this time it looks like they both do. And that's my brother speaking with my son. Yeah, it's a day off of school today, so we can all join in. So this is reading chapter 10 in the New Living Translation. The angel and the small scroll. Okay, very similar. The other one was the angel and the little scroll. Then I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven, surrounded by a cloud, with a rainbow over his head. His face shone like the sun, and his feet were like pillars of fire. I'm going to stop there at the first verse because I was curious. Oh, yeah, it did say wrapped in a cloud with a rainbow over his head in that one, surrounded by a cloud with a rainbow. His face shone like the sun, and his feet were like pillars of fire, and in his hand was a small scroll. And in this one, it gives an asterisk. Remember, so when we find that, we can find this scripture reference at the bottom of the page and see what it has to say about it. So in chapter 10, verse 2, it says, or book. And it's also in chapter 10, a reference in chapter 10, 8, 9, and 10. So it's coming up. And so in his hand was a small scroll that had been opened. He stood with his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land. And he gave a great shout like the roar of a lion. And when he shouted, the seven thunders answered. Okay. When the seven thunders spoke, I was about to write, but I heard a voice from heaven saying, keep secret. Here's the asterisk again, and this is for verse 10 verse 4. It says seal up. Instead of keep secret, you could also say seal up, and I think this other version said seal up, if I'm not mistaken. Use that wording. Yep, seal up what the seven thunders have said. So it says, keep secret what the seven thunders said and do not write it down. And then there's a cross that shows that this is also talked about in Daniel chapter 8, verse 26. Shall we go there? Sure, let's do it. Just have to find Daniel. There we are. Daniel chapter 8. Verse 26. All right. And that says, this vision about the 2,300 evenings and mornings is true. But none of these things will happen for a long time. So keep this vision a secret. Let's see. Okay. And basically it was saying that either this is the same reference or is similar to what was written in Daniel 8:26. Keep secret what the seven thunders said and do not write it down. All right. Then the angel I saw standing on the sea and on the land raised his right hand toward heaven. He swore on oath in the name of the one who lives forever and ever, who created the heavens and everything in them, the earth and everything in it, and the sea and everything in it. He said, there will be no more delay. When the seventh angel blows his trumpet, God's mysterious plan will be fulfilled. It will happen just as he announced it to his servants, the prophets. Yeah, to me that came a little bit across a little bit clearer when I read it that time. Maybe it's because the second time I read it, or maybe it's the version that kind of helped. All right, so starting on verse 8, I think that's where I might have left off. Then the voice from heaven spoke to me again. Go and take the open scroll from the hand of the angel who is standing on the sea and on the land. And that is referenced from Revelation 8:2 and 4. I feel like that was where you have 1 foot on the sea and 1 foot on the land was just mentioned in Revelation 10. But it was also in 8:2 and 4. Well, we've read that together then. Interesting. Let's just go back and revisit it. Chapter 8, verses 2 and 4. 2 says, I saw 7 angels who stand before God, and they were given 7 trumpets. Okay, and 4 says, the smoke of the incense mixed with the prayers of God's holy people ascended up to God from the altar where the angel had poured them out. So let's see. Basically, this is referencing, go take the open scroll from the hand of the angel who was standing on the on the sea and on the land. I mean, it might, these other references in chapter 8 don't seem to be about that angel, but that maybe one of the angels that it's referencing is the one talked about here, because it says the 7 angels who stand before God. And, and where the angel had poured them out. So, it just, I'm not exactly sure why it's referencing those verses, but I think that it's kind of talking about the different roles that these angels, all these 7 angels of God, it's referring back to them in some more specific way in these verses, it seems like. Yeah. Okay, so Verse 9. So I went to the angel and told him to give me the small scroll. Yes, take it and eat it, he said. It will be sweet as honey in your mouth, but it will turn sour in your stomach. So I took the small scroll from the hand of the angel and I ate it. It was sweet in my mouth, but when I swallowed it, it turned sour in my stomach. Then I was told, you must prophesy again about many peoples, nations, languages, and kings. All right. Well, that is the end of chapter 10. And I finished it in the New Living Translation. So why don't I do the same in the English Standard Version? So we've got both versions completed. So I think I left off on like verse 8. I'll go back to verse 7. All right. Well, this is right after it says that the earth and what is in it, and the sea and what is in it, that there would be no more delay, but that in the days of the trumpet call to be sounded by the seventh angel, the mystery of God would be fulfilled, just as he announced to his servants, the prophets. And there's a reference here on servants. Go down to 4, and it says Greek is bond servants. And that's a whole nother discussion of what a bond servant is. And I'm happy to go into that maybe on our next video. Bond servants. We can look that up. Okay. Then the voice that I had heard from heaven spoke to me again, saying, Go, take the scroll that is open in the hand of the angel who is standing on the sea and on the land. So I went to the angel and told him to give me the little scroll, and he said to me, Take it and eat it. It will make your stomach bitter, but in your mouth it will be sweet as honey. And I took the little scroll from the hand of the angel and ate it. It was sweet as honey in my mouth, but when I had eaten it, my stomach was made bitter. And I was told, you must again prophesy about many peoples and nations and languages and kings. Okay, so we will finish there. I kind of like the concept of a bond servant, or to be able to like discuss it in more further detail, but it's basically a willing servant, somebody who bonds themselves to the master, rather than, somebody who is forced to be a servant or a slave. So that was something we can discuss a little bit further maybe in our future videos. So for today, have a great weekend, and thanks for reading along.